You possess a gift, a power that you were born with that you can use to transform the quality of your life right now. The power I'm speaking of is the power of your brain and body working together. It's the same power that allows your heart to beat over 100,000 times a day without you even having to think about it. It pumps over 6,000 quarts of blood a day through a network of blood vessels that, if you were to put them end to end, would go over 60,000 miles. That's enough to circle the Earth twice at the equator. You don't even have to think about this. You've got a set of eyes that instantly make distinctions, over 10 million different color distinctions. You've got a set of muscles that, if they were to work together and pull in one direction, would equal 25 tons of pulling power. And all of this process is being run in a body that's made up of about 98% water, run by about a 3-pound lump of matter we call our brain. A device that runs roughshod over the whole process, monitors everything, works for over 70 years with very little care needed for it, and runs on about as much electricity as you might use for a 10-watt light bulb. It has the storage capacity that, even with today's technology, would require 2 buildings the size of the World Trade Centers. With all this power within you, with this incredible computer, because that's what it is, your mind is probably the greatest computer on the planet. It's available to you. Run properly, you can accomplish any dream or goal you desire. Run ineffectively, and your goals just remain dreams. They never become the realities they could be. Isn't it time you made full use of that computer? Isn't it time for you to take charge and unleash the magic and the power within you now? Welcome to the owner's manual for your brain. With an owner's manual, you can accomplish just about anything you want. And the purpose of this tape is to really being a programming device for you. Not a teaching session, but a chance for you to get acquainted with the keyboard to your brain, how to really direct your emotions and behaviors with more power and with more precision than maybe you've ever thought were possible before. So let's get right to it. In this tape, you're going to learn how to eliminate fears and phobias. You're going to learn how to direct your emotion, how to anchor in the kinds of behaviors you want, and really how to take any massive problem or challenge you've had in the past and turn it around in a very short period of time. And at the end of this tape, we have a program we call Mental Aerobics, which will be your chance to use this tape day in and day out, using the repetition to program yourselves, so that every time when you wake up in the morning, you can start out and not just take care of your physical body, but tune up this mental computer. Get yourself so that you're applying all the things that you can apply to accomplish your dreams and goals. Let's start out here with a question. What is it that almost every single person on the planet really wants and needs? And my answer to that question is change. I think almost everyone in this room and everyone watching this tape wants to change something in their life. You either want to change how you feel, or you want to be able to change a behavior. How many of you here would like to change something specifically? 2 of you? Okay, all of you. The reality of the situation is that most people want to change, and a lot of people think they know how to change, but they don't create the long-term changes they want. In order to understand how to change ourselves, we got to know what makes us behave the way we do in the first place. So let's take a look at what creates human behavior. People behave at any moment in time basically in line with the state that their mind and body is in at any moment in time. In other words, when we feel very angry, we're going to behave differently, obviously, than if we feel very loved. Now, the question is, what determines what state we're in at any moment in time? Well, there are 2 major factors that are going to determine your state, in other words, how you feel, and thus pretty much how you're going to behave overall. The first major factor is the use and basically the condition of your present physiology. Physiology just simply means, how does your body feel? How are you using your posture, your breathing pattern? For example, if your physiology is stressed, if you have, for example, muscular tension throughout your whole body or pain, then you're going to be in a different state than, for example, if your body is relaxed. As a result, in a painful state, you may behave and treat people a little bit differently. You may snap at people. Or normally, in a more relaxed state, you might just smile or handle things a lot differently. So physiology is one of the first things that determines our state of mind. The second thing that determines our state of mind, and again, out of our state of mind is how we're going to behave, is what we call our internal representations. What that's a fancy word for really is, how do we represent to ourselves what's going on in our world? There are 2 major ways in which we usually represent things, and that is by what we picture in our minds, and also how we picture things in our minds, as well as by what we say to ourselves or what we listen to and how we listen to it. How meaning, for example, the tone of voice you have when you talk to yourself makes a big difference. The tone of voice you have when you talk to someone else If you have a loving tone of voice versus an angry tone of voice, there's going to be a difference in state, and as a result, you're probably going to behave a lot differently, whether you're angry in terms of your internal voice or whether you're happy. So again, how you represent things in your head is going to make a big difference in your emotional state and your behavior. So let's come back to the first one. Physiology is the most powerful leverage we have for managing our states in our life. Those times when everything just flowed for you, your physiology was in a great place. You were in control. You were in charge. So let's just try something really simple. Think about this. If you were to find somebody who's depressed, that state of mind called depression has a specific posture and physiology associated to it. Somebody who's depressed, what does their posture usually look like? You tell me here in this audience. Where are their shoulders usually? Slumped. Okay, slumped. Where's their head? Down. Eyes are looking down. What's the breathing usually like? Shallow, okay. What are the muscles in the face like? Are they tight? Are they relaxed? What are they like?
Tight.
Usually kind of droopy for most people when they're depressed. Tight, usually they have some anxiety. But if they're just depressed, it's usually kind of drooping and drop down like this. Now, if you take that exact same person who's depressed and do only one thing, that is change the way they're using their posture, you'll instantly change the way they feel and the way in which they behave. Now, again, I know this sounds very simple, but it's how the brain and body work. We've been teaching this now for about 5 years, and last year, the University of California at San Francisco did a study where they took a series of depressed people who had been through all kinds of therapies and made only one change. They said, I wonder what would happen if we put expressions on these people's faces of happiness, smiling, laughing, that kind of thing, but making their face go in an upward fashion and change their shoulder position. Their research showed that even with people who've been depressed for years, in 1 second's change from this physiology of depression to shoulders back, breathing fully, a smile on their face, instantly these people stop feeling depressed in that moment. Now the key, of course, is to take it from changing how they feel in a moment to long term, which we're going to get into in this tape. So let's try it in this audience. And you at home who are watching, try this as well. If you're watching this videotape, instead of just slumping there looking at it and saying, what is he talking about? I can help you to learn quicker by putting yourself in an optimum state. So try this. All of you in the audience and you at home, sit the way you'd be sitting right now if you felt totally energized and excited. Breathe the way you'd be breathing if you felt totally energized and excited. Now, put a look on your face like you'd be like if you were really excited, really energized, breathing and feeling good. And raise your hand if right now you can honestly feel a measurable change in your state as you made this one subtle little change. Now try this. Go from this state to a state of feeling kind of bored and tired. Okay, back to energized. Quick, snap yourself up. You too. Make sure you do this if you would. Play with me, because I want you to be able to develop a pattern. So if you start to feel tired and lousy, you can snap yourself in real quick, real simple. Go ahead and be bored and tired again. Energized. Snap yourself a little faster. Bored and tired. Energized. Bored and tired. Energized. A little faster. Bored and tired. Energized. Energized. Now watch this again. Go ahead and go bored and tired. Notice the first thing you do to get bored and tired. Go ahead. Energized. What's the first thing you do to get bored and tired?
Forward.
Drop your shoulders down. What else? Change your breathing so it's what? More shallow. Where do your eyes go? Down. Okay, so it's a lot like depression. Bored and tired aren't that far away from that particular state. In fact, a lot of people get depressed because they're bored and tired. Okay. So the reason I'm pointing this out and you go, well, this is really simple. It is simple. But the reality is most people do not manage the simple things that make the difference in the quality of our lives. And what I'm asking you to do is become consciously aware of what you already know. And that is the way in which you use your body is going to determine how you feel physically. And if you feel physically strong, emotionally strong, then you're going to get the most you can out of yourself. You're not going to be just barely making it through the day. And every one of us in life has to be able to do this in a moment's notice. Let's try something else. From where you're sitting right now, I want you to think of something that you don't feel like you could do, like it would be really tough and you don't think you could do it. And then what I want you to do is feel how it feels when you think about the fact that you're not sure you can do it. Where are the muscles in your body? Are they tense? Are they relaxed? Are you drooping? Are you upright? Just notice where you are when you don't think you can do something. You just don't think you can pull it off. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to adjust now to the most confident physiology you've ever been in your life. So sit the way you'd be sitting if you felt unstoppable. Like if you had a goal or an outcome and you were absolutely unstoppable, nothing was going to break through. Some of you have been through the Firewalk seminar. You might take that physiology where there's nothing in this world that's going to stop you. You've got to desire a goal, and that's it. Now, as you're doing that, feel it in your face, feel it in the way you breathe, feel it in the way you look, the focus of your eyes, the muscles in your body. Continue to feel these great feelings where you're totally confident and strong. And notice the difference. Now go from this state back to you're not sure. Somebody going, no way. Go back to like, oh, God, I'm not really sure. God, I don't think I can pull it off. Now, back into total confidence. Snap into a confident state where you are absolutely certain you can do this. There's nothing that's going to stop you right now. Make it in your face and your breathing. Now, while you're in this state, if you can feel the difference, and it's major, raise your hand so I can see that you can definitely do it. Anybody here not? Okay, you all feel the difference. Now, what I want you to do is in this same physiology, think about that thing you didn't think you could do a moment ago, but stay in this state. Think about things you didn't think you could do, but now you're in this state, and think about it. How many of you feel like you could do it now? Raise your hand if you think you could do it. So the reason is, have you ever had a project that was like such a difficult project, you didn't know where to begin, it was so difficult? Like, you know, where am I going to start with this thing? But then somehow eventually you got around to doing it? The only difference was you could always do it. You always had the ability. The difference is the way you looked at it and the way you felt. See, at one time you felt overwhelmed because of your physiology. Another time you felt strong enough to just take it on. So you can do this consciously. Now, what I also want to show you is that you can take on other people's physiologies and start to feel the way they do. You can consciously model someone else's physiology and get to feel the way they feel. So let's try something here. We've got a picture here of a couple of different people, and what I'm going to ask you to do is be an actor or an actress, even though you may not be, but to adopt their facial expression, their posture, and I want you to notice what it does to your body, that you'll start feeling like they feel. So we've got a couple examples here. I need some volunteers. I need a man volunteer for starters here. Can I have a volunteer out of the group here? Great. Why don't you come on up here? Thank you. Give him a hand. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, we've got some pictures here that we're going to show, and Vinny here has volunteered, so we're going to start with this one right here, Vinny. What I'd like you to do is just, to the best of your ability, it doesn't have to be perfect, adopt the physiology that you see here. Take on the same, you might start with your legs in the same position, basically. Then move your arms in the same position. Then move so that your shoulders are basically in the same place. Try and take on the same facial expression, the same head tilt, same eye tension and relaxation, same mouth position. How do you feel right now?
Feel pretty good. Feel pretty excited.
Oh, you really sound like it, Vinny, I'll tell you. Now, take a look at it again, and there's something you aren't doing that would make a difference. See what you're not doing with your body.
His mouth.
Okay, there's some of his mouth. Also, he's extended more. Pull your body up higher. Now, how do you feel?
I feel much, much better.
Okay. What would be an emotion to describe the state you're in?
It's like I just completed something that I was really proud of, and that I'm like really great that I finished it.
Fabulous. Very good. Thanks. Give me a hand. Have a seat real fast. That one's pretty simple. Let's try another one. How about Mary Jo? Why don't we have you come up here and help us with this one? It's a little leaning physiology here. Take on the same facial expression, same look in your eyes. I better hold you here. Okay, go ahead, try it. And how does that feel?
It feels very joyous.
Very joyous.
Yeah.
Okay, take a look at it, see how you might enhance it. And see how you could extend something in your facial expression or something that makes it even better.
Okay.
How does that feel?
Very joyous.
Very nice. Okay, good. Give her a hand. Thanks a lot. So what we're having these people do by duplicating someone's physiology is just basically send the same messages through their physiology into their body, so they're duplicating or creating very similar states. They begin to feel similarly, and they've got a very strong advantage in possibly even behaving in a similar way. Now, an important point to note is, anytime you change the way you use your physiology, it's also going to change the way you represent things. Meaning when you feel physically vibrant, it tends to change the way you look at the world, the way you talk to yourself about things.